Hi everybody, welcome to Mike's Classic Pinball. It's been a little while since I've been online with you, but wanted to share a couple quick things with you. The channel's going very well, it's growing thanks to you guys. And a lot of the new friends that I've made have been very kind about my channel and have been leaving me nice little messages. A friend of mine, Arthur from Australia, messaged me last night and left me a little review. Let's see.
Hey Mike, what a fucking dickhead, mate. You're better off slamming your cock in the car door and making a YouTube clip.
It's actually not a bad idea. Okay, well, one of my best friends, Bob, he messaged me last night about it. Let's
Mike's a dickhead.
well, you know what? My daughter, my dear daughter, Sarah, she's actually been very encouraging, and she's actually also one of my best friends too. And she, let's see.
Mike's such a dickhead.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Why don't you have an Uncle Doug over it?
Okay, everybody, so welcome. I wanted to do a quick video for you. This is not a tech video. I apologize, those are coming. I just wanted to do a different little quick video for you that something we were discussing, but I wanted to give you a quick update. The Spanish Eyes is done except for one little thing that I was waiting on. As you saw in the video, the score reels had been all screwed up and somebody had tried to paint them, and when I cleaned them, all of the paint came off. And so I really didn't want to buy new score reels. And so one of my new friends online on the EM Pinball Facebook group, Mike Randy Hale, he was kind enough to cut and send to me vinyl stickers, which I had not really thought about, but they look beautiful. I'll show them off to you in the next video. I've got them ready to go on. I'm going to film me putting those on, and then Spanish Eyes will be done. And we're going to do a quick wrap-up video of that next. Probably going to work on that this weekend. Skylab, I have been going through doing repairs. I've been keeping track of everything and recording. Hopefully going to be done very, very shortly. I'd like to have that gone this weekend as well. And that would actually bring me to what the next project is. If everything with Skylab goes well, the guy who I'm doing this for has another game that I want to do. And he's totally cool with me doing it, and I'm going to do it for this channel, but it's not a pinball. Let me show you what it is. This is a 1949 United Super Shuffle Alley. It's a bowling game, it's a puck bowler, and it's absolutely awesome. I've never done one. I've never done a bowler. And I'm super excited to do it, super excited to give it a try. And of course, I'll bring all of that to you. This one's gonna be a really fun one. So, hanging out online a lot and talking to some of my new friends and on the forums and on the Facebooks, I've had one particular question asked to me a few times on my YouTube channel, and that is, Mike, do you prefer solid states or electromechanicals? That is not a fair question. It's like asking me to pick my kids. No, really it depends on what I'm doing. Now, I'm gonna let you in on a little bit of a secret. Now, I've been doing pinballs for a dozen years, and I suck at playing pinball. I suck a mighty wind with the silver ball. I can't play very well. I'm better than, say, a dead person, but other than that, not really. One of my friends, Larry, invited me a little while ago to a local tournament that was going on up near my house, and there's about 30 people there playing. And it's just a fun, friendly, for giggles tournament. And it's about 30 people there, and it ranged from, kids to little old ladies playing. Kind of all over the place. A bunch of great games I got to play again. Doctor Who, Terminator 2, and then some of the new ones like Rick and Morty and the new TMNT, some awesome tables. We had a lot of fun. Out of 30 people, I think I placed 42 or 43. I suck. And the thing is, I get frustrated playing pinball because I'm not that good. And I practice, but I can't play very well. So it gets me frustrated. So a lot of times I'm not like just dying to sit and play some pinball. But when I do, between solid states and EMs, I gotta say honestly, I prefer a good solid state game, especially a DMD one, like even a newer Stern or something like that. It's just so much fun. And so much more to do, a lot of more lights and colors and stuff. I love playing EMs, but if I had a choice, I'd play solid states. But I'm not a player. You could give me a choice and you could put right in front of me, over here, you could put a brand new Stern, okay? And over here, you could put 3 or 4 busted up old EMs. And so you get to pick. You can keep one or the other. I'll take the EMs. If you hand me an EM that's all done and beautiful and perfect, I love it. It's great. It's wonderful. I love all pinballs, but nothing to do. And I want to dive in and do things. So when it comes to working on games, I prefer EMs. And it didn't always used to be that game. When I started in this, and a lot of you guys know this, my first game was a 1977 Wyco Big Top. That's not a real pinball. Yes, it is. Fuck off. Yes, it is. Then I bought a 69 Bally On-Beam, which initially was a mistake, but I loved that game. I took months with it and absolutely went crazy on it. And as you guys know, it actually ended up on the 2011 Mr. Pinball Price Guide. I traded it over to Dana Pettit, and he put it on the front, which made me feel really, really good. After that, I had such frustrating time with that game that I swore off EMs. And I did Time Fantasy, Electra, High Speed, Grand Lizard, and just stacks of others. I spent way too long doing a playfield swap on a Funhouse. That was a disaster. But that's a story for another time. Yes, I got it. It got done. Everything was good. Mike was happy with it. Super awesome time. But and I learned a lot, but it really turned me off to doing playfield swaps unless I absolutely have to. But then shortly after that, I had done a whole ton of games in real quick succession. And then I, for a couple of $100, bought Chicago Coin Cinema. And it kind of got me back into this phase of wanting to do EMs, because when I did the On-Beam, I had no clue what I was doing. I had not read a lot on it, and there wasn't as much online back then as there is now for learning materials. And I had not discovered the sacred tomes of This Old Pinball, Clay Harrell's videos. And I'm sorry, like them or hate them, those videos are the best. They are brilliant. And so I now started to learn, and I did a cinema and ended up selling it to a local actor and TV star here. I loved the game. It was brilliant. And then I did like a Hotline, a Flying Circus, Soccer, William Soccer, Super Flight, all in very quick succession. That Super Flight was a nightmare, by the way, because Super Flight is a 2-player EM. There is also a 4-player of it called, I believe, Stratoflight. Well, the body was the 4-player. The head was the 2-player. Get that shit working. It took some time. That's another story for another time. But I got to loving EMs again. And then I got out of the game for a while, and then I came back and I decided I just wanted to keep doing EMs. The thing is that working on an EM, you guys have heard me talk about this tried and true method that I use for going through an EM and getting it up and working, and it's always worked very well for me. Anybody who's interested in my checklist, email here. But I've used that for a long time now and had great success with it. I do the glasses thing a lot. Mark Valich from Mark's Basement Arcade, he was complaining about, he does this all the time. It's like, if you watched my videos, I'm notorious for it. But I decided I just wanted to do a lot more EMs. I enjoy working on them. Working on solid states, I've done a lot of them, but there's a difference. If you really go through clean and straighten and take care of an EM and go through this process, it's going to work. With a solid state, something could be wrong. And yes, you can go through the manuals, you can go through the schematics, and you can go through this Sherlock Holmes diagnosing bullshit to figure out what was wrong. And a lot of times, a lot of guys that work on solid states, it's just you replace the board and go. I'm too cheap for that crap. So, I usually when I'm working on an EM, I can get away doing it for under $100. Very recently, now I'll tell you this, there is, in my area where I live, which is north of, a ways north of Salt Lake City, there are a bunch of guys nearby within 20 miles that do pinballs in solid states. I could count the number of guys in all of Utah that do EMs without taking my slippers and mittens off. Nobody really does them anymore but me, and a couple other guys do it a little bit, but I'm really the only guy that really dives into EMs anymore around here, and I love it. But I ran into this guy, Jeff, up in Ogden, who is a slot machine guy. And he used to do pins, but he doesn't anymore. He kind of got out of it and just does slot machines now. Super awesome dude, and we exchange numbers, and he's been sending me more and more calls that he would get for machines, and I've got to work on some really cool games. A Williams Stripes and Solids and Stripes, I think. Stripes and Solids, Solids and Stripes. It's a pool base game. Not too many of them around. Really super cool game. I got to work on that. A really nice Monte Carlo, and a handful of other games that I've gotten calls around to do. But occasionally I get a call to do a solid state game, and I got a call from this guy, Ray, who I'm currently doing some work on some machines for him. He's really big into slots too. He's got a really nice sub slots, and but he's got a couple of pins that he wanted some help with. Now, one of them was a Gilligan's Island. All that was the, when you turn it on and go to factory, restore factory settings and just stay there. It was dead batteries. The batteries hadn't been replaced since Bill Clinton was in office, and they were fuzzy. Luckily, I removed the battery battery holder, and there was no corrosion on the boards. I was able to just, put a new one in there, get it, and right as rain. Absolutely beautiful. And then there was his Williams High Speed. Now, somebody had worked on this thing before me, which is one of the reasons Ray called me. Somebody worked on it before. He had done a little work on it, was waiting on a part, and then ghosted him and disappeared forever. Never heard from him again. And I wish I knew who this guy was. Actually, he should wish, whoever it was, that I don't know who it is. I don't know who it is, and that's probably for his benefit, because I'm angry with him. I checked out the high speed, turned it on, and it wouldn't fire up at all. I was thinking, there's the little, down by the switch there, there's the power switch. Usually, I've had a couple of times where that was broken or a line was broken, and nothing, everything was fine. So I checked the back box, and let me show you what I saw. Can you tell what's wrong there? Yeah, the guy had taken the power board, and apparently something was wrong with it. The F2 fuse kept blowing, and he wanted to just work on the power board. and never returned. So I ended up buying an X-Pin replacement, and I got to tell you, the X-Pin boards, they're super nice. I dig them. Got it in, and there was still a problem because I hadn't done my due diligence and checked the rest of the game. First things first, the dude had gone through on almost every one of the controlled solenoids and had snipped the diodes on all of them, trying to solve the problem. And what the fuck, what? But then I started looking around on the motherboard, and Q76 and 77 were blown. And once I actually looked, which I should have done in the first place, yeah, sure enough, they were blown. I don't regret it because I obviously needed to replace the X-Pin anyway. But, and then I was trying to figure out what it was and go down to the left rear pop bumper was completely cooked. The coil was completely cooked, and the plunger was seized inside the coil, so it was locked on. And that was just causing all manner of problems. It had blown those two, and at some point, I'll show you a picture here, it had blown the trace on the back that goes from J13, I think, all the way over the board, over to where the components that run the solenoids is. So that's why when I would play it, the flippers wouldn't work. The kickers wouldn't work. Obviously the pop bumpers wouldn't work. None of that was working because that's all over in that same area. And the trace line, which is the big fat trace line there, was completely burnt away. So I have not finished that game yet because, again, I prefer working on EMs. I can do board work, but I'm not great at it. But whoever had it before me had done a lot of repairs on this board before, and it looked like a monkey with a Bic lighter had tried to repair it. So I know when to know that I don't know enough. And so I actually got a hold of somebody else. Now I found some guy up by me who does wonderful board work. And he's doing a lot more board work these days. And I would highly recommend this guy. If you're local to where I'm at, if you're in the northern Utah area and you need somebody to do board work, let me know. I'll hook you up with this guy. He did premium, pristine work, and for a really good price. I'm really appreciative to him. But I was out of town this last week, and I went to Pocatello, Idaho on vacation. Why the hell did you go to Pocatello, Idaho on vacation? Well, because it had Don Aslet's Museum of Clean, that's why. Yes, it's a museum dedicated to the art of cleaning. I didn't plan that vacation. But so I'm gonna go fix it over the weekend. But again, it's just such a damn hassle to go through and then find all the other components that might have been blown and just, poke around with my multimeter like I'm some kind of alien probing a pinball machine. I'd rather do it on an EM. I find it better, and I don't have to spend $600 on board replacement if stuff goes horribly wrong. With an EM, I can see. 9 times out of 10, I can see what's wrong. And if I follow my pattern and I follow my checklist, it works. So to make a long story short, and I know I've already been rambling on for almost 20 minutes now, I apologize, but as far as solid states or EMs, I got to give it to EMs, but broken EMs, that's my favorite thing. Now I love all pinballs, obviously. I've never met a pinball I don't like, except Cleopatra. But I just love all pinball machines, but I love working on EMs, and that's what I do. So that's kind of the answer to the question. So thank you for that. And thank you for watching. As always, like, share, subscribe, let everybody else know, because it strokes my ego so well. And got a couple more videos coming. Gonna do some finish up on Spanish Eyes, some Skylab, and then with a shot of luck, can start working on this puck bowler. So we will see you guys soon. Thank you for watching, and have a good game.